Hey there, Gemini. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel, The Fool's Journey Tarot. This is a general love reading for the sign of Gemini for this first week of November 2020. So Gemini, I hope you all are doing well. I hope you're enjoying this last part of 2020 as best you can. Maybe looking forward to some holidays, maybe looking forward to spending some time with some close family and friends. If you're brand new to my channel, I want to say this first. I give a brief introduction, but there is more specific information regarding my videos and my channel in the description box, including the names of the decks and the creators of the decks. So if you want to take a look there, go ahead. This is a general love reading, of course, so it can apply to any kind of relationship situation or circumstance that you might be dealing with. It's always important to maintain some flexibility with the energy. So in other words, you can be represented by any of the characters that might show up in the cards, regardless of the gender of the cards. You may feel like I'm reading for you. You might feel like you're cross-watching for somebody. Parts of the reading may resonate while other parts may not, so take what does and leave behind the rest. I hope, obviously, you enjoy the reading. I hope that you get something out of it. I hope that it's beneficial to you in some way, shape, or form. So we're going to go ahead and get started, Gemini. I'm going to give this first deck one more good shuffle. And then we're going to see what's in the cards for Gemini in November 2020. Here we go. We're going to start off with the Nine of Wands in reverse, paired with the Three of Pentacles in reverse, the Tower, Two of Cups, Nine of Cups in reverse, Temperance, King of Cups in reverse, and then we have the Sun. So I do feel like this reading applies to a specific relationship or connection. It feels like it could potentially be a romantic or intimate connection with the Two of Cups coming out here. I feel like there is a disconnect within this connection. Things aren't working out. Maybe there is a lack of willingness to work together, to try to build something together. There may have been some kind of dramatic or big change in this relationship that caused some problems. We do have a King of Cups on the table. He's in reverse. I feel like this person may be emotionally unavailable or not willing to commit. Somebody who's not all there, who's not all present when it comes to the emotional side of things. So we're going to go ahead and get some more cards out here for you, Gemini, and see. Oops. Nine of Wands, which was the first card that came out in the other deck in reverse, just popped out. It was going to be this next card, but I'm going to throw it back in here and shuffle because I have this little rule for myself that if I get ready to cut or if I'm getting ready to lay the cards out, something falls out or I leave cards on the table when I'm cutting, I have to at least give it one more shuffle. That's my rule. So see what comes out. Here we go. Two of Pentacles, Nine of Swords in reverse, the Knight of Wands, Nine of Cups again in reverse. It's down here as well, so it's side by side with this Nine of Cups. King of Swords, Chariot in reverse. 8 of Wands. And then we have the 5 of Cups in reverse. So I think that there's a disconnect here with a specific relationship. So far I just have this king on the table, but I feel like there's a disconnect. It feels like it probably was is or was a romantic connection. But I think this king is trying to decide if he still wants this or not. There might be a lack of commitment or inability to commit, unwillingness. But I feel more than anything that this king probably has something from the past that he hasn't dealt with all the way through, and it's keeping this person from being emotionally available. And I think it's something that he needs to talk about, act on, or reflect on. This King of Swords could represent this King of Cups higher self, or this could be somebody this person is talking to. The King of Swords is somebody who is very intelligent, somebody who deals with facts and information, somebody who will not lead you astray. This is somebody who's very honest, walks the straight and narrow. This could be somebody who's a figure of authority, somebody who works in law enforcement, for example, or a judge. Again, it could represent this king's higher self, so it could be a spirit guide, a counselor, but I feel like this person is communicating with or thinking about what's holding him back regarding an emotional connection or emotional availability. There was or currently is a disconnect in a relationship. I don't think there's been an ending. I think it's just a disconnect. While this king works through things and tries to figure out, is this worth fighting for? Do I want to keep working on this connection? Do I want to figure out what went wrong? Do I want to try to fix it? Is it worth hanging on to? How does this look in the current state that it's in? It feels like this king has come to terms with something that he needs to deal with. Now, I want to remind you, I'm using he because there's these two kings out here, but you can embody this energy as a female. So just keep that in mind, Gemini, as you're listening to the reading. Especially if you're resonating and you're thinking, oh, well, it's a king, so it can't be me because I'm a female. That's not the case. The King of Cups in reverse is different than the Queen of Cups in reverse, because the Queen of Cups in reverse is somebody who is like emotionally wounded, or may come off as a victim, or might be seen as somebody who, she might also be emotionally detached, but it's on a more passive level. So the King of Cups is somebody who's like, you know what, no, I'm not interested. Or, yeah, we can be friends, but I don't want to take it anywhere past that. He's a little bit more distant, disconnected, apathetic, unemotional, whereas the Queen of Cups in reverse would maybe even be overly emotional. So there's the difference there. This King of Cups is just a disconnected individual, somebody who's not willing to go deep, somebody who's not willing to offer himself in that way, go to the next level when it comes to an intimate connection. Let's get some more cards out here for Gemini and see what else we get. We have the Magician. And we have the King of Wands in reverse now. Sorry, I'm distracted. Anytime my neighbors are out doing something, I have to be snoopy and look. What's going on out there? They're just looking at a truck. Nothing exciting. 10 of Swords. Knight of Swords. The Chariot in reverse again. Five of Swords. Nine of Pentacles, clarifying this King of Cups. And then we have the Seven of Cups. Okay, so the King of Wands that came out here is also tied to this King of Cups. So far, I just have the one energy on the table. I am reading for this person. This person has disconnected from a relationship. This person is not sure if he wants to continue with the relationship or move it on to the next level. This person is considering ending the relationship. I don't feel like it's happened yet. I think this reading is about, should I end it? Is it worth fighting for? Do we move it to the next level? There is this consideration of, am I going to make this work, or am I ending this? It feels like it has to be, there's, for whatever reason, a decision on the table regarding whether or not I move this forward in this connection, or do I bring it to an end now? I don't think this king has acted yet on his thoughts. I think there may be a need for this king to communicate that I just want to be on my own. I'm happy on my own. I'm single. I'm comfortable. I'm enjoying life. I'm doing what I want to do. And I don't have that emotional energy to put into an emotional connection. I think that there needs to be some communication to that effect. Because I think that there's some question as to whether or not there's reason to move things forward. There may be a significant conflict within this connection, within this relationship, or it might just be a personal conflict for this King of Cups. So in other words, maybe there's not a fight necessarily between this person and whoever they're connected with. Maybe it is something internal that this king is dealing with. Maybe he found out something about the person he's tied to and is thinking, I don't know if I should take this to the next level. Maybe this person's not my cup of tea, or they don't, they don't think the same way that I do, or they don't hold the same values that I have. They don't want to do the same kind of things that I like to do, that kind of thing. It feels like it could potentially be, at least right now, kind of an internal thought process that I'm looking at here on the table. So for example, if you feel like you're cross-watching for this king and you're the person this king is dealing with, this king at this point in time is trying to figure out whether or not he wants to continue forward with this relationship or bring it to an end. I don't think that he's communicated it yet. Maybe there's been some communication about this, but it hasn't been on the level of, yeah, I made a decision. Maybe it's just been communication regarding deciding what makes the most sense, what's reasonable, that kind of thing. Let's get some more cards out here for Gemini and see what else we get. So we have Temperance again. This time it's in reverse. I think it's out here only once. Yeah, this is the second time in reverse. And then we have the Empress. I think that's the person this king is thinking about. Nine of Wands again. It came out anyway in the other deck. In this deck, King of Swords again, this time in reverse. So he's here with the Nine of Cups in reverse, and he's here with the Nine of Cups in the upright position. Four of Swords. Seven of Wands. Six of Pentacles in reverse. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So this Empress is the person this king is dealing with. If you are the cross watcher, this is you. So the Empress is the type of person who, first of all, she's all that and a bag of chips. This is all the queens in one. This can be a more mature individual. If she's not an older person, she could be someone who's just very wise, someone who's been around the block a few times, someone who's got an old soul. This is someone who she's got it all together. And she's very nurturing, very warm. She is intuitive. She's very, she puts it all. She puts it all into the connections that are significant and important to her. So this is who this king is dealing with. And this is what she's receiving in return. This person who just doesn't have that equal ability to nurture this relationship in the manner that she's nurturing it. It's not the same for both parties. Now, I don't know, this could be, it feels like it's on an emotional level, obviously. The disconnect feels like it's on an emotional level. There could be something else, this Ace of Pentacles, that's what's keeping this king where he is. I think that he is feeling a little bit of regret regarding something else that's connected to the relationship that he might have to give up or he might lose if he ends the relationship or the connection. Does that make sense? It feels like he is feeling a little bit regretful about something else that he might lose if he disconnects with this Empress individual. So here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I find interesting that I'm getting from this set of cards over here. There is some indication on the table that this king has a sense that he's kind of in control of the relationship. Now, when I say in control of the relationship, it's like he's the one who gets to make the decision about whether or not it's ended or whether or not it's continued or taken to the next level. I hope that makes sense. There is some indication that indicating that this king feels like he's kind of the one who's in position of making that decision. But that's just simply not the case. And the reason why I say that is because he's dealing with an Empress. This individual is not like clinging to this King of Cups saying, oh, please don't leave me, please don't go. I don't know what I'm going to do without you. She's not that type of person. The Empress is not that type of person. But she's also not the type of person who's just going to stay within a connection or a relationship because she has something personal to gain out of it. I think she does have feelings for this king. I think that there is a connection there with this king. But she's not tied to him. She doesn't... She may not throw herself on her bed with her gallon of ice cream and sob into her pillow if this king breaks it off, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that this person wouldn't necessarily be disappointed or sad. I'm not saying that. But the Empress has been around the block a few times, so she's dealt with this kind of crap before. If someone is disconnected and if they're unable to commit or they can't move something forward, then, you know, she's the type of person who would have a reasonable conversation with this king and say, you know what, I get it. As long as you're open with me, as long as you're transparent with me, and we can deal with this on a level where we can both recognize the imbalance in this relationship, then that's fine. Then that's the way it needs to be. However, whereas I think that this, I'm not saying that this Empress, if this King decides to end things, which feels like that's the direction he's going, but I think it's still up in the air. If this King decides to end things, where was I going from here? Oh, I was saying that I didn't think that the Empress, I mean, she's going to carry on with her life and she's going to be just fine, and in fact, she'll thrive, because that's what an Empress does. But this King does have something to lose if he ends the relationship with this Empress. There is something here that will be lost or left behind if he disconnects from this Empress. I hope that makes sense. Let's get this last round out for Gemini and see what else we can get. So we have the Chariot for the third time. It's in the upright position. We have the Chariot in reverse with Temperance. Chariot in the upright with Temperance in reverse. Page of Swords. The Devil in reverse. Six of Cups in reverse. The Magician again. Five of Pentacles. Ten of Wands in reverse. And then we have the Knight of Swords again. Okay, Gemini, the thing that's most confusing to me right now, and what I'm trying to figure out, is the connection itself between this Empress and this King of Cups. So this is a Six of Cups connection. Six of Cups is in reverse. This feels like it could be a connection. This could be someone who's come back from your past. This could be a connection from your childhood. This could be someone, this just can be a soulmate energy, someone who's been in your life for a long time. Here's what I think is happening. I don't think that this relationship is ended. I don't think that it's been severed or cut or it could be that there's a lack of communication, but I think the lack of communication is with regard to this situation, how this King is feeling and what's on the mind of this King. There's something significant on the mind of this King, and obviously it's the ending of this potential relationship and whether or not he's going to take action to do this, whether or not he's actually going to end the relationship. I don't think he has. I think he's hesitant to do so because he's going to lose out on something else other than just the connection itself. But there is an emotional disconnect with this King. It might be one of those situations, for example, where the relationship kind of works in every other way except the emotional disconnect. One person maybe has lost that intimate connection or doesn't feel the same way, but everything else is still going fine. Everything else works well. So it's this one piece of the pie that if this king makes this disconnect, he really is walking away. He's going to walk away with nothing. Because he knows he's leaving behind an empress. And he knows that if this happens, then he creates for himself this Five of Pentacles energy, where he's walking away from more than just a person. This empress has more to offer than just herself. You know, a companion or someone to do things with, or someone to sit down and watch TV with. This is more than just a companion. This is a life partner. This is someone who has a lot to give. And if he ends this relationship, he's also really missing out on a lot more. And I think that's what's keeping this king from communicating how he's feeling right now. And I think that's part of the problem, is there is a lack of communication, which feels a little bit unfair to me, because I think with something this significant, especially with a relationship like this that feels very significant, it feels to me that there needs to be some communication, some transparency, because again, I think that there could be communication. There needs to be some transparency. And that may be the thing that this king needs in order to gain the clarity, get the questions answered, come to terms with his feelings, express himself authentically, be honest. There's nothing wrong with being honest about the hard parts of life. It's hard to admit things sometimes. It's hard to talk about certain things. But you know what? If the people in your life are worth your love and worth your time and worth your while, they're going to be there for you, to hear you out, listen to you, and be there. They'll be there during the hard times as well as the good times. So I get the feeling like this king is resistant to communicate to this empress about this potential ending, because maybe he anticipates this empress saying, well, if you're not going to be there for me emotionally, then we can't continue this relationship. You got to go. I'm in it for the long haul, and I'm in it 110%. If you can't give equally to someone who's offering this, then it's probably not a great idea to stick around. So if this king does express himself and say, look, I'm just not emotionally invested anymore, he very well could, like I said, be giving up more than just a person, more than just a connection. There's more here. And there's a history here, too. Obviously, there's a history here with these two. I'm going to take this card. We have Self in reverse. Gemini, I'm going to read this for you, and then we're going to wrap this up. So Self is one of the major arcana cards. I've said this before, this Dreams of Gaia Tarot deck, which is the deck, I kind of use it like oracle cards. I have a couple decks of oracle cards, but I don't use them typically. I'm really resistant to change, and I've gotten really accustomed to these cards, and I love this deck. It really puts a nice ending on the readings usually, but it's not an oracle deck, it's a tarot deck. But the major arcana cards do have different meanings, and there are 3 extra cards in this deck as well. Maybe one of these days I'll mix things up and get some new decks in here. I just like the ones that I use. I've just become very accustomed to them. Anyway, this is a potential blockage. It came out in reverse, which is about 3/4 of a page. I'm going to read this to you, Gemini, and then we're going to wrap this up. Here we go. The Self card reversed represents a need for you to look within and ask if you are embracing other people's beliefs and behavior in order to belong. Going along with the herd mentality can make you predictable and lead others to have certain expectations of you, especially if you are predisposed to follow their lead or do as they do without question. Humans have always formed tribes and communities. We are social animals that seek out others in order to feel protected and understood. But while we are and always will be part of a collective, we are also unique and individual beings who have evolved to a point where we have the freedom to be different. If we have the courage and desire to do so, In fact, we have the freedoms that we do because generations before ours have defied convention and tradition, broken laws, and fought for their right to be free-thinking individuals. That fight is ongoing as people continue to evolve and each tribe demands to have the same rights and privileges as their neighboring tribes. Monkey see, monkey do. It is said that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but there are many who do not see imitation as flattery in any form. Rather, they see it as the act of someone who seeks to curry favor or approval, or of someone who is unable or afraid to think for themselves. So think for yourself. Stand on your own 2 feet. Be innovative and original instead of doing what everyone else is doing. It does not serve you to believe that others tell you to believe what others tell you to believe, nor to do as others do, unless you truly do believe as they do and share the same values. If you want to belong, do not try to make yourself fit by being the same as others when you know that you are different. But who you are, be who you are, respect who you are, then you will draw to you those who are similar, who will respect you, and whom you will also respect. Because like you, other free-thinking, independent people are busy walking their own path. So that's good advice for just about anybody. I don't care who you are. You can be this King of Cups or this Empress. It's good advice for just about anybody. But I do feel like this could be kind of it's significant advice specifically to this King of Cups, and I feel that way because I think he's reluctant to disengage with this relationship because he's going to, again, lose more than just a connection. But he might be restricting himself and not being true to himself because he's sticking around with a person or a group of people that he just doesn't mix well with. He's following this herd mentality and thinking, you know, I got to do things this way or that way because that's what's expected of me. Well, it's making him feel uncomfortable. So maybe he's feeling this urge to move on because he needs to move on. That could just be the plain and simple reality of the situation. You know, if you don't make certain decisions in your life, the universe has a way of doing it for you. That's when those tower moments come along, where it's like, you know what? It's the universe shaking you a little bit and saying, you need to wake up and do something about this. So, in this specific situation, it happens to be related to a very specific and intimate connection, where some honesty needs to be had, some transparency needs to be had. So, I'm going to leave this here, Gemini. I hope that the reading resonated. I hope that it was enjoyable, and I hope that you got something out of it. Thank you so much for watching, Gemini, and I will see you next time. Bye.